Hey guys, today I want to talk about negative numbers and just do an introduction of what are negative numbers. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the vocab word integers. So when we refer to numbers, oftentimes we just think of positive numbers. But when you say integers, you think of positive and negative numbers. So when you hear the word integers, it means positive and negative numbers. Examples of some positive numbers would be 5, 2, 10, 125, 36, and 54. Examples of negative numbers now are going to be negative 3, negative 122, negative 43, negative 1, negative 7. Notice negative numbers have the negative sign in front of them. Make sure you take a moment to write down what integers are and a few examples of what are some positive numbers and what are some negative numbers. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a visual by drawing a number line on the board. So normally when we're talking about numbers and counting, we're looking only at this side of the number line. So if I say, what is 1 plus 2? I would start at 1 and I would hop 2 spaces to get to 3. But now we're adding on another side of the number line. So I want you to notice that in the middle of the number line is the number 0. This is what we're going to call the origin of our number line. So go ahead and make sure you draw a number line on your paper and label it the way that I'm labeling it. The middle is going to be the origin. Notice that on the right side, so this is the right side, always on the right side is where the positive values are going to be. So the right side is always positive. And then notice the left side is where all the negative numbers are. So all the negative numbers are always going to be on the left side of the number line. Now, one more thing I want you to notice about the number line is that when we're going from left to right, the numbers are getting bigger. Because 2 is bigger than 1 as we're going left to right. Negative 2 is smaller than negative 1. Negative 1 is bigger. So as we're going this direction, the numbers are getting bigger. So that means if we're going this direction to the left, our numbers are getting smaller. So even though you think we know that 3 is bigger than 2 because it's on the right side, but on this side where they're negative, negative 2 is bigger than negative 3 because it's on the right side. It's furthest to the right. So if you're trying to compare two numbers, look at the number line. Which one is furthest to the right? That's the bigger number. Which one is furthest to the left? That's the smaller number. So if I'm comparing negative 4 and negative 1, negative 1 is bigger than negative 4 because it's on the right side. A couple of real world examples for you would be, I lost 5 pounds. If I'm losing it, it's getting smaller, so it's going to be a negative 5. I lost it, and minus 5. A minus sign and a negative are the same thing. So I know that if I'm losing something, I'm subtracting it. Minus sign is the same thing as the negative sign, so it's going to be a negative 5. It's getting smaller, I lost it. Another example is I won $100. That means my bank account's getting a little bit bigger. So this is a positive 100 because I'm gaining it. If I wanted to, I could technically put a plus sign in front of it. I'm adding on $100. So it's a positive 100. One more key word that I want to talk about with integers is the word absolute value. The absolute value, it's a number's distance from 0 on the number line. Make sure you write that down. So if I were going to take the absolute value of the number 2, I know that 2 is 2 spaces away from 0 on the number line. So the absolute value of 2 is 2. And the way I write that is absolute value of 2. So you have lines on both sides. The absolute value of 2 is 2. Well, what if I want to take, let's say, the absolute value of -2? I go to -2, it's 1, 2 spaces away from 0. So I say the absolute value of -2 is also 2. And it's a +2 because when we're measuring distance, it's always a positive amount of distance. It's just 2 spaces away. Even though it's a -2, its absolute value is a +2 because I'm simply just counting the amount of spaces it is from 0. Let's do the absolute value of -5. So again, those 2 lines mean absolute value. So if you see 2 lines around a number, it says, hey, what is my distance from 0? So if I had a -5 over here, I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. +5 spaces from 0. So that is how you find the absolute value of a number, whether it's a positive number or a negative number. You just count the spaces it is from 0. I hope you have a basic understanding of integers now and understanding that integers are positive and negative numbers, that we now have this left side of our number line. When you are first starting out working with integers, don't be afraid to use a number line. Don't be afraid to draw one off to the side of your paper. And just remember what an absolute value is. A number is distance away from 0, and the integers are both positive and negative numbers. See ya.